Hey everyone, welcome to VTech Data. So this is your host Al, and I'm a senior product manager, and I deal with like a lot of technology products. I build a lot of new technology products as well. So so let's get started. So I have Ravi with me, and we have an exciting topic today. So let's get going. Hey Ravi.
Hi everyone, this is Ravi here, and I work as a software engineer at NetApp. And today I'm going to talk about a game, PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battleground. A couple of months back, I was so much addicted to this game. I have came across uh, many games of the same genre, but I was not this much addicted to. Uh, this game was like too much addictive, and I was quite. It was quite interesting, and I was fascinated, and I was thinking about why this is so addictive and how they are handling the things. Because previously, I'm a fan of Counter Strike and Call of Duty and all such things. During my graduation, I used to remember we used to sit in a closed room, and we used to play for days and nights, connecting to LAN and all, so that there won't be much network lags in it. If you are connecting to international servers, there'll be lots of network lag. So we may not able to sync up with the game. But with PUBG, though, it's like so much interesting, and everybody have access to Android and mobile devices with internet, and anybody can play PUBG. And the scalability and the system architecture of the game was quite fascinating to me. So that's the reason I thought of digging more into the psychological facts and uh, the system design of this game. And this game was developed by a South Korean gaming company, Bluehole, and and moreover, this was comparatively uh, cheaper than other games. If you are buying for your gaming consoles, like it's like 26 euros. So the other games are like more than 35 euros if you're buying it, and it is free for all the Android devices and mobile applications. And coming to the psychological facts of this game, that why it is tempting to play again and again. This is uh, basically they're following a risk reward system in this game. Again, risk reward is always exciting to people. Like, we love to take risk. If you are taking more risk, and you will be rewarded more. And yeah, that's how the game works. For some of you, like maybe you may not be playing this game, so I would like to give a quick intro of like how this game is. So what happens is there will be 100 players connecting to this game for a single game, and all these 100 players will can be grouped into a maximum of 4 person in a group, or you can play it as an individual also. You all 100 people will be dropped into an island, and you know uh, who's the last person surviving in the island, uh, he's the winner, or which team is the last surviving the island is the winner. And for every time, there will be something called a safe zone. All players has to move inside the safe zone, so that if you're away from the zone, then your health will be decreased. So this internally makes the players to get gathered in a particular place in a map. So this is all about the game. And moreover, the thing which was quite interesting is, like, when I started playing, it was very easy. The weapon system was very easy to understand. The controls are pretty simple, and there's no much fancy weapons. It's kind of very five set of guns, and it's pretty easy to understand all the controls and things. And yeah, it's of course tricky to use the things. Let's go into the technical part of it, and to be precise, this is how it works when a player wants to connect to the game. First, it will check the version of the game installed, or it's running in the phone, in the system, or in a computer. So what it does is, it should not leverage the player who is using the advanced version of the game, so that it will always ensure that every player has the same version of the game. That is the main reason that you know uh, it would first check for whoever is joining the game is having the latest version of the game. So it forces the user to install the newest version once you open the app. And once he installs, and all are good to go. Now what happens is that the user will be connecting to the game servers. So I would like to use some of the terminologies, like I would say it's PUBG. If you go to settings and see, that there will be a few, like 5 servers, which will be in name of like Asia, North America, South America, and all these things. I would say I would term them as world servers. So what happens is that if you are in a specific time zone, the I would say the round trip time, the turnaround time for the response time for the servers is very less if you are in Asia. So say if you are in US and if you connect to North American server, the response time will be pretty less. So mostly it is advised to get connected to the closest server. But if when you see like on some busy days, like weekends and all, I have seen an Asia servers is congested and the response time is more than 500 milliseconds. It's quite awful. And I used to connect to North American servers to play the game. So yeah, so that's how it is done. So these are called as world servers. Whenever the gamers connected to the game, so first they will be communicating to a type of servers called connection servers. And you might be asking, like, what is the need of connection servers in here? Like, we have the world servers that maintain a persistent connection. I mean, it can able to handle the games, right? What is the need of connection servers in here? If you see a battle royale sort of game, like variant of games, like mostly, like for example, PUBG, every action we do, like it's something kind of a shooting game. When you land into, uh, okay, again coming back to the game workflow, it's something like you will be diving into with the use of parachutes into the different places of the island, and you will be given a map. And every house will have some loot, which is weapons and bags and whatnot, all the objects. The players goes and collect the things, and he needs to survive. That is the intent of the game. So here the thing is, when you are shooting a person, we need an instant, you know, uh, the what to say, it's kind of the impact. There should not be any lag. So what happened is, like, we used to compress the data, and we should encode the data, and we should send to the server. And if every logic sits in the world server, it will be of so much of congestion. So what happens is, like, we use a sort of service called connection servers. It's a kind of a proxy. What it does is it's just uh, client will compress the packets, it will encode the packet, and maybe if need, encryption also can be done, and it will be sent to the connection servers. Connection servers will decrypt it and decode it, and it will be sent back to the world servers. Okay, so now coming to the next thing, uh, how, like, okay, now world server will do the work. So now, interesting point is, like, there could be multiple sessions of games. So once 100 players have, there could be thousands of users. So for every 100 players, the world servers will create an instance of a game server. I could say there is a new terminology called game server. It will be created, and every 100 users will be assigned to a particular gaming session, and everyone will be like set it to those a particular gaming session. So what happens is, once a world server creates a gaming session and it gets connected to the it gets connected once all 100 players are connected to the gaming servers. Sorry, once a world server is creating a session of gaming server and it is connected to the game servers, so users will be interacted to the game servers. Now you can ask me a question like, why we already have a world server to connect the people? Why can't we create instances in there and run the game? Like, why not? We have better compute and we can do anything, right? But of course, if it is a game like chess or pokers or something, you can do that. But in a game like in a PUBG or Counter Strike or all these kind of Arma 2, all these kind of sort of games, it's quite difficult to track the users because they'll be in a different locale of the map. So basically, how this game will be, like, as I said, the players will be dropped in the map. The map will be subdivided into many small cells. Many small cells, I could say it's a many chunk of squares. I could say you can place a grid above the map, and every grid is more or less kind of associated to one game server. So whoever is in the grid, like the users associated to a grid, will be connected to a particular game server. And yeah, there are chances that there will be map is very huge. There will be lots of grids with very less users. I said per session there will be 100 users per 100 gamers. So we could say like 10 gamers are spread across, and all 90 gamers are in a single square, which is off. It's we could say it is a hotspot. All are trying to take more risk and trying to get rewards from it. It's nothing but gathering in the same place to get very good weapons, and so in that cases, what happens is all of the grids will be connected to a single gaming server because it has to deal the state of the users, very less number of users, and there will be another gaming server which will be having a good compute and good memory, which will be dealing with the people, the gamers, that like 90 other gamers. So, and quite interesting thing which the feature which I like in PUBG is, there is a feature called airdrop. So airdrop has a special weapon system which you will never find other places in the game. So there will be a aircraft which will be dropping some special weaponaries from the top. So I would say it is quite pretty impressive. So because the map will be comprised of houses and terrains and all, so if the servers are thinking to end up the game because of huge load, many players are still waiting in a pool to get started the game. So what it happens is, they will drop that airdrop in a plain terrain, rather dropping in between houses or in between any area where the other players can hide. Rather dropping in such places, they will drop the airdrop in a plain grassy land, so that everyone who is coming to take is vulnerable, and so the game will end soon, and you will be visible to all other players. So this thing was quite impressive, and again, it's a win-win. You can win the game soon, and you will end up you will leave the resource, and others will use up the resource for the next game. And coming to the next thing, okay, there are some chances that some players will be in some particular grid, as I already said. He's shooting other person in some other grid. How things work. So now what happens is, every object in a particular grid will get associated with a boundary. We'll always, grid is nothing but two-dimensional coordinates, right? We'll always hold the dimensions of the boundaries of the every grid, and whenever the object coordinates getting changed, we'll keep track of, we'll be broadcasting the packets, we will be broadcasting the messages if the player is in the boundary of any particular grid, so that if we can make sure that, okay, the player is in the boundary of this grid, there is a high possibilities that he might be moving to the grid to its right or grid to the bottom and all. So to the user, it is not shown as a grid, it is shown as a single map, but in backend developer perspective, it is a sort of grid. So we can broadcast information between the game servers, so that the information will be very persistent, and we can make use of caching and and all such things. Now other things are doing the work. What is the point of this world servers? What is this? Finally, like, there's nothing. There should be a single place. There should be a place where we should maintain a single persistent state of each and every user. If a user get disconnected to a game, and if he's connecting, still the game is continuing, like where will he go and check his data? So what happens is, whenever the user is connecting to a game, and even if you have already played PUBG, you might have seen that in the left side you will see your teammates are alive or not, and what is the global statistics of the players, like who shot whom. I mean, particular, especially to that particular gaming session, who shot whom, and out of 100 people, it will be displaying that who shot whom, how many is alive, and all this global information. So these information states are being handled by the world servers, and the actual graphical interactions and the communication between the gamers are handled by the gaming servers. And so yeah, you're correct. You guessed it correct. There will be always two connections that every user will be maintaining. One is with the world server, and another with a game server. And this is how. I could say it's an overview of how PUBG works, and how this reward system is so crazy.
Yeah, this is pretty cool, right? So it's like they can spin up n number of servers at like momentarily, like I mean, like in a minute or so, right? Like, I mean, few seconds, right? We're talking about spinning up a server in few seconds. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I know, like, this was like a very, I think this is still a very famous game, right? So, like, been 2 years in the development. So I think they launched somewhere in 2017. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. So it's like this has like a lot of craze, and they recently, I saw an announcement that they started using multi-cloud architecture, and they were like, they started jumping between like one cloud to another because of the explosive volume they have. It's pretty awesome, the scale that they are playing with. Cool. And actually, I do have a question, right? So, so basically, what is the game plan to win rewards? So, how do they do that?
So basically, the rewarding system is something like that. There, you need to get into a place from the start. It is like, if it is a city which has multiple buildings, there is a high possibility that you can find the weapons and other things like car, bike, and armor, helmet, and all those things. So which makes the people greedy to get in. At the same time, there is a risk because your opponents will also get landing into the same place. So that was the reward. You take more risk, you get more items, and you have advantage. Either fight back, or you can just hide and you play hide and seek in that game, and you can.
Yeah, yeah. So it's based on the strategy, right? Like how
Yeah,
what strategy the team choose, and how they want to play about it. But that's pretty nice. And also, like I know this company, yeah, Bluehole or Crafton Incorporation, right? So this is like they are a very big gaming company, and I think they were founded in like 2007 or something. They've been doing this developments like since 2007 out of South Korea. So yeah, it's a very big gaming company, and they have like a slew of games, an array of games. But I think PUBG was one of the highest used game in their overall portfolio. Yeah.
yeah. I would say it is mainly because they have a pretty good analytics system, and the gaming, the zone that player has to move on is quite dynamic. So if you have lots of load in your server, automatically players are forced to move into a most vulnerable area. So you end up the game soon.
Now
So
that's the nice thing, right? So that's the awesome thing that you mentioned. That was I was really curious about it. So dynamically, they are making decisions based on the players. Based on the number of players and number of players on the queue, and based on their server load and everything, right? So that's an awesome thing. So it's basically they are dynamically streaming all the data, and they are doing dynamic analytics, and also they are responding based off of it, and the game actually changes based off of that dynamic decision. So that's super cool. Yeah,
yeah,
so actually, I haven't tried PUBG so far, but yeah, I would love to try that. That's awesome.
it's a quite addictive game.
Yeah, nice. I don't think I have any more questions, but yeah, you explained it very well. And now I think our audience will be curious as well to look into how they designed it. So even now, like I'm just thinking, probably you may have to have another session or so to understand like what are the data structures they are using and how their architecture is. Like I would love to dive into it. So this is
Yeah,
awesome.
sure.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, and actually, thanks for listening, and thank you, Ravi, for talking about PUBG and explaining things about it. So it was pretty cool and also awesome, right? And thank you for listening. It's We Talk Data. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.